Let's talk ADP risers and fallers from December. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Wednesday, January 8th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers. Let's take a look at some risers and fallers in NFBC ADP from November to December. So Willson Contreras is one of those names who's up from pick 94 all the way up to 81. He has leapfrogged Will Smith. He's going back-to-back with Cal Raleigh. We learned that he is going to play first base for the Cardinals here in 2025. Chris, what do you think about Willson Contreras here at pick 81?
I have him right at the same range, so I'm buying him at that price. I think you can make a case for Willson Contreras being ranked as high as the number 3 catcher. Now, Yainer Diaz is the number 3 catcher in ADP, and he's about 24 spots ahead of Willson Contreras. So I think Yainer Diaz is being overdrafted a little bit, but I think you can make the case that Willson Contreras is just being a little bit underdrafted. You look at his per 162 game average since getting to the Cardinals, it is a 263 batting average, 27 homers, 80 runs, 80 RBI, 8 stolen bases. That's really, really good production for a catcher, especially. And he's had trouble staying healthy throughout his career. You would think that would be less of a concern, not playing catcher. Like, he fractured his forearm on a backswing last year. He got hit. I think he led the league in catcher's interference the last couple of years. So, like, there is a lot of wear and tear that he should be able to avoid. So you could, I think there's number 1 overall catcher upside in Willson Contreras this year, which we don't normally talk about, 31-year-olds as having that kind of upside.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think he has that type of upside, and he is a buy for me at that cost. What about Isaac Paredes? His ADP in November was 281, but since the Kyle Tucker trade happened, he is all the way up to pick 199. So just inside of the top 200, goes over to Houston. His swing is a match made in heaven for that ballpark. Chris, what do you think about the price tag for Paredes just inside the top 200?
Yeah, the Isaac Paredes experience is uniquely suited for, I don't know, 5 ballparks in baseball, like where he would actually be an impact fantasy player. And Houston is definitely one of those 5, might be the most well suited for his swing, because he hits the ball not hard at all. He's like 10th percentile or worse in average exit velocity, hard hit rate, everything. But what he does is he makes a decent amount of contact and he pulls the ball in the air more than any player in baseball. And that allows him to hit a lot of 330-foot home runs. And the thing about a 330-foot home run is it counts exactly the same as a 450-foot home run. It's just when he was in Chicago last year, it's like 345 down the line. He was hitting a lot of lazy fly balls there. In Houston, those are going to be 6 rows deep in the Crawford boxes. Those are going to be home runs. I think he could get to 25. I think 30 is not a totally unreasonable expectation. He's my number 14 third baseman. I have him ranked a decent amount higher even than his higher, more recent ADP. I think he's absolutely a buy.
What about on the other side, Matt Shaw, who is the Cubs' top prospect? The ADP since that Kyle Tucker trade is up to 222.4. And the way things stand right now for the Cubs, he could be their opening day third baseman. I mean, there's a spot available here for Matt Shaw if he can seize that in spring training. What do you think about the price tag for Matt Shaw? 222 as the 19th third baseman off the board.
Sure feels like it's his spot to lose, unless the Cubs make an unexpected addition between now and opening day. This is a guy who got to AA and AAA last season and did really, really well at both levels. Actually got even better at AAA. Had a 929 OPS at AAA as a 22-year-old. Played 35 games there, 86 at AA. So he got to 121 games, 21 homers, 31 steals, 284 batting average. This is one of the top prospects in certainly the Cubs system, if not all of baseball right now. I think you hedge your bets if you're drafting on January 8th, because we don't know he's going to be the opening day third baseman or second baseman, maybe, if Nico Hoerner's not ready. There are paths for playing time. I think he should be drafted around here. I'm not ready to push him into the top 200 yet, but the closer we get, the more we hear. Maybe I will.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
The clock never stops. Relive the greatest moments with uninterrupted highlights and more.
It's Gareth Bale! Ronaldo!
on the UEFA Champions League channel, streaming free.
Welcome back in. This is FBT Express, and let's take a look at some fallers in ADP. Jack Flaherty is down from pick 125 in November to pick 140 in December. The reason? Not entirely sure. He is still a free agent. He has an extensive injury history, wasn't as good once he got traded over to the Dodgers last season. Chris, what do you think about the price tag, updated price tag, 140 as the SP40 for Jack Flaherty?
I have him SP39. He comes in at 122 in my rankings. So I guess I'm just a little lower on SPs collectively than the class, but I think he's a buy here. Unless he comes, like he doesn't sign until spring training starts and he has to settle for a 1-year deal and there are concerns about his medicals and he has to sign for an incentive-laden deal, especially. Like that's the kind of thing that would be willing to scare me off. But I will point out, and I didn't say this in the full episode, but I was thinking it. I was saying the same thing about Carlos Rodon when he was a free agent. We weren't quite sure. And I was like, I'm going to let the market tell me what to think about Carlos Rodon. And then he had a disastrous first season after signing and got hurt anyway. So who knows? It was a different injury. It was a back for him. But I am inclined to buy Jack Flaherty, but he's not like, I'm not beating down the door to get him.
Let's talk about Jackson Jobe, the top pitching prospect in the Tigers organization, maybe the top pitching prospect in all of baseball. He is down from pick 262 all the way down to 323. Not exactly sure why the ADP is dropping. The Tigers did sign Alex Cobb, but they still have other rotation spots available. What do you think about Jackson Jobe outside of the top 300 picks?
So I think it would be silly to put any stock into the 4 innings that Jackson Jobe threw at the major league level. Did he pitch in the postseason as well? He got a couple in.
One or two appearances.
And got very few swinging strikes in that time. Like it was disappointing because you would think top prospects, he's been starting all year. He's going to air down the bullpen. He had like 4 swinging strikes total in his 4 innings. So that was disappointing, but I'm not going to hold that against him. I do think this is one where you can like look at the production last season and be a little underwhelmed by what he did. It was like a 26% strikeout rate on the season as a whole. That's not terrible, but it's not what you want from the, best pitching prospect in baseball. It was a 12% walk rate, a lot of fly balls. So like he was just not quite as good as he was the year before, certainly. I don't see any reason to be out on Jackson Jobe, though. And I think at his price, he's a fairly easy buy, even if we don't know exactly what to expect from him. Maybe he's not as sure of a thing as you'd like to see. But like, given how excited we get about top prospects, I'm just shocked that Jackson Jobe is like people are picking between Jackson Jobe and Mitch Keller, and people are taking Mitch Keller. That's weird. Like, this is not how we typically operate in the fantasy baseball world. So I'm just surprised by that. I think Jobe's price, we're going to get to spring training and he's going to fire out through a few, 98 mile an hour fastballs and a few of those super sweepy sweepers. And I think people are going to start buying in. He's going to be inside the top 50 before the end of spring training, I think.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again on Friday. Bye-bye.